And welcome back to Open Studio. I love that new YouTube Premiere intro. Oh, fancy. Um, this Premiere thing is working out really well. I really love being on live with you guys and being able to concentrate on the comments, where when I'm doing a live feed, it's sometimes tough to keep up with all the comments and do all the painting and stuff. So yeah, it's really working out well. I like it. And yeah, so all right, so let's get going on this. So what I've done here, let me show you. I haven't done anything on it actually. I just didn't want you to think I've been working on it, but here's where we left off. And what we got to do next is kind of get the base color kind of in. So let's take a look at the reference real quick. So this reference of this car, there's a lot going on in this. There's a lot that I have to kind of adjust and take out, and to help it make sense, not only in a razor blade scale, but just in a regular painting scale. So there was a tree. It was parked under a tree, and that casts some shadows on the back of this car, and so that's something that I'm gonna take out, especially on the side. I think I'm gonna leave the dark in the back. I kind of like that, but I'll fade that. So you notice on the bottom of the bumper there, towards the passenger side, you can see those kind of blobby black or darker reflections. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fade that reflection from the left hand side to the right hand side, and it'll be nice. It'll work out really well. Plus it transitions to that sky blue, which is great too. The other thing that I'm going to do is, if you notice real close in the passenger door, there's another Shelby right next to it with a number on the side of it, white Shelby. So I'm going to take that out too. It's a fun reflection, but it's way too small for this. And again, because we basically deleted the background, it doesn't make too much sense to leave in. And that, any other reflections that go with that will come out too. On the beginning of the rear quarter, just behind the door, there's more of that car, so that all comes out too. So those are just kind of the decisions that are made along the way to kind of clean up the painting and make it make sense. So this falls under the category of when people look at a painting like this, a photorealistic painting, and say, why don't you just take a photo? This is why. I generally always take a reference photo and rip it apart and put it back together. Take the things that I need for it and leave out the things that don't make sense. So that's why. All right. So we've already done all the legwork getting these templates cut out. So we're going to get this lined up and ready to go. And again, like I said before, all these paper cut template things I really started using when I started doing these razor blades. I wasn't using a lot of these paper cut templates before. It's just that there was no way like to sketch out on a razor blade for me. It just wasn't something that I was able to do. I needed another option on getting the image on there, and the copies really worked out well for that. So one of the ways that I really kind of line this up to make sure it's in the right spot, there is that flip technique, but on these small templates it's hard to do that. So what I end up doing a lot of times is I'll move it around. So as I move it around, you can see the edges kind of appearing, and that's how I do it. So I just kind of get it so that I'm hitting all the edges, and once I have it on there and pretty much in the right spot, not pretty much, but I try to get it right on the right spot, then I can put the magnets on here. So if I'm lucky, I did get a little bit of overspray. This was a really clean application of that for background, because I don't have a lot of underspray on the white. But sometimes that helps, because if you get a little bit, then you can see it in the template, the next template that you put down. So then you can really line it up well. This is really clean, so I had to kind of shift it around to get in the right spot, but it's in the right spot. Okay. As far as the color goes for this, you notice, well, actually, let's switch back to the reference photo real quick. So the car has a lot going on with it. There's that sky blue that's on the left-hand side and the upper side of this car, which is awesome. So I'm going to leave that in, even though my car is kind of in a grayed out background like a showroom. That blue is going to be great. It's really going to help set things off. And then the other predominant color is the shading color, which is that dark maroon. So the question is what do I put down all over the painting? It's definitely not going to be the maroon, because that's a hard color to come back from for when I need bright red on that. So that's out. The blues would be a good choice if, say, this car was in direct sunlight. It was parked right in the sun. the whole top side of this car and the back would all be blue, bright blue. So that would represent mostly half the car. So that's a good choice. That would probably end up being one of the colors that I would choose. However, it's not like that. It's kind of subdued. So really that leaves just the one color left, which is the local color of the car. And I've done a lot of, just finished 6 paintings using all Pyrrole red, and it has become a favorite red of mine. It's just a really, really brilliant red. So I think we're going to use this color as our base. I know, shut up, start painting. Let me grab, what brush do I want? Where did it go? This one. Okay. I just reordered my red because, again, I did 6 paintings with this and I burned through all of it, which is wonderful. But still, it's no fun running out of paint. So I'll just put a drop in the brush. This is a Micron C. I like the Micron C for basing and doing general details. It works out really well. It can handle all the stuff. And then I'm going to put some reducer in it with some 4050. So this is, you don't need 4050 with this. I could reduce this straight because it's just the opaque red. But this is what I have already pre-mixed up, and it works well. You can add 4050 to the opaque colors, the new opaque colors, but you don't have to. It's the binder in it is super strong. For instance, the black and the white that I have pre-mixed don't have any 4050 in them. But again, I have the reducer already mixed up, so I just add it in here. It's nice because it kind of levels the playing field, no matter what the color is. That 4050 really helps smooth it out. Makes it a little bit more transparent, but again, we're working on white, so it doesn't matter. All right, I also need you've seen this before. This is my super expensive hold down tool. It's a meat skewer, and I think you guys have seen this on the Harley painting. It's a meat skewer which is pointed at one end. I kind of knocked some of the point off it, so it's not crazy sharp. And then the other side, this one isn't a good example. This one is better because it's not as covered with paint. This one, and then on the other side, I flatten like a screwdriver. So this is what I use to like hold bits of the template down while I'm spraying. Just got to find a spot to hold down. So again, even if this brush could take that Pyrrole red straight out of the bottle, I wouldn't do it because by reducing it again, we're reducing the... So it's, again, it's all about scale. It's just like the background. If I have this, pretty much close to out of the bottle or a little bit less, it's going to spray. You're going to see the grain because we're working so small because you're that close. So I really need this to atomize as fine as it possibly can. In this case, all right, so in the base, not so much because we're kind of covering the whole thing. You can't see the atomization at all. But again, if I'm working on the scale, it's a good habit to get into keeping the reduction or the feel of the paint consistent. It's fun because this is, I may tape this down a little bit better. You can see how it's moving around because there's just a loop of tape on this. After this video, I'm going to pull that up and I'm going to retape it down. Or if we have time at the end, I'll do it with you guys. Because it shouldn't move around like this. That's not good. For me, it just makes it more difficult to kind of manage. I like this new camera angle though. This makes more sense for you guys. Okay, just dry that off. So even like the hood, where the hood has that bright reflection on the top, that almost white reflection, I'm just going to paint it red. Again, this is the biggest local color in the painting. And with that reflection, I've got a lot of sky color in it, that blue. So blue shift is actually going to be my friend with this painting. So as I paint in the white and it shifts to blue, that's actually going to be perfect for this. It makes it just really easy. making sure to paint that lower ridge of that handle of the razor blade. And then the taillights, I could hold that down, but I don't need to because it's going to be black and blue, so I'm going to put a lot of paint on that anyway. So it doesn't matter if it has underspray on it. I hit that kind of heavy. Let that dry a little bit. So I also picked red for this because with the red and the gray, this is really going to pop off this blade. This will be super obvious on what it is. And of course, the car is red anyway, so that helps. But even if the car wasn't red, there would have been an argument to make it red. I've done that a lot. And in fact, on that last series of paintings, I changed two of the cars. The Corvette in that series was yellow and the GTR was black, and I changed them both to red. So, okay. I think that's good. Let's see what we got. See what we got. Actually, I'm gonna take a moment and glue this down now. Yeah, that's not so bad. I kind of missed on the bottom, but I don't know if that's shadow because the top is pretty close. I went a little bit over, so it's a little bit too high. Now let's fix that. So in order to fix this, we got to first put the color where it should be on the bottom. Yeah, it looks like the backside was a bit too high. That is okay though. And so we're going to have to adjust the windows too. Oops, I won't use my finger though. Okay, that's better. Oops, knocking stuff over. Okay. Now what do we got? Better, much better. All right, so the top edge of that I gotta fix because it's too high, so it's actually going on to the background, but that's gonna be an easy fix. Bottom's lined up now, I'm feeling good about that. So we're in good shape. The front needs a little bit of extra, see the little gap right there, but that stuff is common. All right, so let's get this back on because this shouldn't be doing this. Because when it does this, it ends up giving you a chance to, screw up. So we're gonna, what tape do I have? Do I have I should use 3M, but I will use FBS. What did I use originally? I did use that. So yeah, so these loops of tape were just too big. They shouldn't be like that. So what I think I'm going to do is pull these off and use the thinner FBS tape. This is the gold tape from FBS, just a lot thinner. And it'll still hold strong enough. But it's a lot thinner, so it's going to be flatter to the surface, which is good. So I just rip off a piece, same thing, just loop it up. Like this. Put one here. Now this tape doesn't have the same adhesive strength as the 3M tape, the yellow tape. So, so I make these loops a little bit bigger. It gives me more kind of surface area for the tape to hold on. There we go. That should be much better. Line that back up. Well, not really line it up, but put it back on. And then grab the glove so I don't touch the blade and then give it a good push on there. Yeah, that's much better. That's much more stable now. Okay, so that is that. So the other template we cut out last week was the blue, or the windows. So we'll get that one on there now. Oh, that's the front end of this thing too. Nice. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, that's better. Now the magnets aren't flopping around here. Yeah, that's very much better. Okay, so for this I gotta swap out, or do I? Can I put in a new brush? I should really swap it out. Or should I? Yeah, I'll swap it out. So if I was gonna be using the red again, which I will be later, but I'm not gonna be using it for a few minutes, or for a little bit. So if I was gonna use it again, I would save it and then just use another brush for the blue. That way I could leave it in there. But we're not going to use the red for a little bit, and this brush does a better job with this basing in stage than most brushes, so we'll use it. Get all the red out. And then we need like a sky blue. So we're going to do that with a little bit of white. This is opaque white. A little bit of white. It's too much white. And a little bit of opaque sky blue or daylight blue. I keep calling it sky blue, but it's called daylight blue. This stuff is great. So just a drop of that. Not even a drop. Mix that up. And that's, yeah, that's perfect. So that gives me like a really light pale blue. Lovely. Okay. Hopefully, this has got to cover the repair too. See the repair where I went too high on the back deck? Oh, we'll see. We'll start with that because I have to cover that. So we'll put a kind of a primer coat on that, get that started, and then I'll move on to the rest of it, and then just keep coming back to that one section until it's caught up. Actually, that's on the back deck anyway. That's a reflection on the back deck. Oh, okay. So that wasn't a mistake. That was supposed to be red there. I mean, it's supposed to be blue, but I cut it out originally with the red to include it, so. Wait, there we go. Is that? Oh, I'm getting mostly white. I'm like, why isn't this looking blue? Because there's white at the bottom of the brush, so back flush that a little bit. So all I'm doing is putting the cleaning cloth on gently on the end of the needle and then pulling the trigger back slightly, and it bubbles the paint back in the cup. So what just happened there when I dropped the white in first, the white went down into here, basically. And then I put the blue in and then I mixed it up, but there was still white down in here that wasn't mixed up. So as I'm spraying, the white's coming out, but I want the blue to come out. And there it is. Okay, good. That's excellent day. Okay, good. I'm gonna get the. Can't do that because I gotta make sure this is held down. This is right on the edge of the blade, so I gotta be careful not to. So there are two things that are gonna happen. Right now, see the template's coming up off the surface. So if I spray this, it's gonna be fuzzy under here where the stick is here. So what I gotta do is I gotta be able to hold that down. What I can't do is hold it down too much because then it pops it back up again. So it's just kind of a gentle, like, you know, compromise, I guess. And that's that. Lovey. Lovey. Love it. Thurston Howell the Third. Alright, there's a little highlight down in here. I don't know why I cut this out, but I did, so we'll do it. Oh, I see there's another one here too. Okay. I literally haven't looked at this in a week, so sometimes I'll record a couple episodes at once, but I haven't looked at this since last week's episode. All right, and the last one to do is this right here. Just this guy right here. Looks like there's going to be more. Oh no, that's mostly paintbrush. Okay, never mind. So this is a fade, again, because it's hinged here, so it tells me that I got to go from the edge of the cutout towards that hinge and fade it away as I do. And that's that. Let's see what we got. There's more, again, there's more blue in this, but it's more detailed. Again, this is just a blocking in stage. That's awesome. Okay, so the reason why I said that's awesome is because that template was really lined up well. You can see how close that blue is to the edge of the headlight or the tail light. So that's in the right spot. I'm really happy with that. Okay. It's the hood and the roof and blah blah blah. Oh, the roof. Well, no, that's more of a fade. We might do it since we have it in the brush. Yeah, let's do that next. Okay. So what I'm looking at, again, let's jump back to the reference photo real quick. So if you notice, the blue on the top of the roof is really pronounced, but it also has a fade towards that back corner, the passenger corner towards us. It turns back into red, which is why I didn't block it in this stage. The windows and that back deck are all blue, pretty much across the board. But the roof line has something different going on. It's got a little fade in it. I think that's the only spot that happens. Well, the wheel well too. But I'm not going to do the wheel well. The rear wheel there, that blue and the flare there, that is the same exact thing. But that may be where we pick up next week, because again, there's subtleness there. There's that blue is basically along the whole side of the car, just really slight. All right, so let's get back to it. So what do we need for this? We need. Do I need anything? No, I don't. I can use one of the other cutouts. That's why it pays to save everything. Well, I'm working on a painting, so I usually have a cutout that will work. So we're going to flip this upside down to avoid extra underspray. Drop this in where it should be for real. Now, the other nice thing too, once you get started, it's much easier to get these templates lined up, because I've got stuff down now. And even if, like, as long as the first one is where, even if it's not perfectly lined up to where it should be, the very first one, then I make adjustments to that. So one of the other great questions I had early on when I was showing these templates, this photocopy templates, was someone had said, maybe you could make a registration mark on each photocopy. Then you just line up the registration marks and everything's perfect. Kind of like, regular printing. And that makes a lot of sense, but what I find is even once I get started, I'm making minor adjustments across the board. So I would use a registration mark like I would use any other part of the image. So it's kind of redundant almost. I suppose I could be more careful and make sure that the first one's lined up and the second one was lined up, and then, all of them after that. But as tight and crazy as this looks, it's really kind of off the cuff for me, and I like it that way, All right, sorry, drinking coffee. All right, here we go. So it's early here. It's really early. Usually I do these open studios in the morning, but it's uber early. It's 4:30 in the morning. So there you go. I got a busy week. I got a lot to do. Got to get this done. All right. So it's still got the blue, obviously, in the brush. So we're going to just put a really, just soft fade from the very top to that back corner. Now, again, even though that's seems like a detail, it's not part of the blocking in process. It really is. So let me show you why. It's a little spoiler for later. So you see how I did the fade all the way from the top down to the window? So let's jump back to the reference real quick. So you notice right above the window, the passenger window, that's bright red. So I'm going to have to repaint that in with a paintbrush. But that's okay, because there's the little seam between the roof and the side, the door. So that's fine. It works out good. All right. Again, I don't know if I want to do, well, maybe I will, because what time we got? We still got 5 minutes. Unbelievable. We're going to have to cut templates out anyway. So, all right. Since I get the blue in the brush, I'm going to do the wheel wells now. I'm going to do the blue in the wheel wells. Again, I try to go light to dark, so, I don't want to put all those dark reflections down and then have to jump back and put the light reflections on. One, because you do get that blue shift. In this painting, that blue shift doesn't really matter, but it's a good practice for me to, kind of keep it all consistent. So let's jump back, and we're going to paint some of these reflections. So what we need is, where is it? Okay, there's a little blue one here. We might be able to, it depends on how fast I can cut this out. So we might be able to get the rest of this in this episode. If not, as we've been doing, we'll just pick it up right where we left off. In fact, I'm going to record the next episode as soon as I finish this one so that I have the same color in the brush and all that fun stuff. So, I did that one wrong. Okay, so this is a sacrificial template. So what I did was I started cutting out right up against the wheel well, the dark part, but really, again, let's jump back to the reference photo. Really what I need is that, see the vertical edge of that wheel well right next to the dark part is red. The blue highlight is above that. All right, so what I gotta do is I'll just throw this out. The reason why I'll throw this out is because I already made a cut in this, and for the number of copies I have, which is 1 million, it's not worth running the risk of, using this for something else and having that cutout be a problem and not know it. So I'm just gonna cut my losses, literally, and get that out of here. Let's grab another copy, because we have plenty. Yeah, we have a few, so we're good with that. So when this episode airs, no, I take that back. I was going to say, this is around the holiday time. If you're watching this after the fact, I recorded this in December, so I'm getting ready to head back home. I grew up in Massachusetts, and I'm going to go see my family, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this open studio at 4:30 in the morning is because I have a lot to get ready for. So I was going to say, when you see this, I will be in Massachusetts, but I will not. Okay. They're good. I got a bunch of these now. So let's do this the right way. Okay, so there's a couple things going on with this. I should have started up here, would have answered the question for me. There's that dark reflection in the back, which I really like and I want to keep. Again, that kind of defines the flare, the way that flare pops out. Having that horizon line almost horizontal or vertical. Having the horizon line almost vertical because it's so bumped out. I love that. Okay, so the other thing is there is the body line, which is here. This is pretty complex. I like it. So we're going to do this. We're going to cut out the body line, and then we need a fade on the front to the door, which is here. This will make more sense when I actually paint it, so hang in with me for a second. And we may, yeah, we only have a minute left, so this is going to be like high suspense. I'm going to leave you hanging with a partially cut template, but we'll pick it up right where we left off next week. All right, so what I did was, here's the body line. This body line runs down the whole side of the car, which is really nice. So I'm going to use that as kind of a helping point. The other thing I'm going to do, now the door frame, or the door seam is right here. So I need to have a softer fade on the top of this, where it rolls over a little bit on the top here. So I'm going to cut that out separate, but I'm not going to remove it. So I'll just be able to fold this back and spray it. So that gives me those two. The same thing is going to happen with the front of the car. So let me let you guys go for this episode, and then we will pick it up right where we left off next week. All right? So thanks for hanging out with me again for this third premiere. We're on the third episode. Again, if you liked it, please hit that like and subscribe. If you really want to help support what we do here, you can become a sponsor. You can jump on Patreon and become a member there, or you can also become a member here on YouTube, which is great. All that basically keeps the ball rolling here, so it really is appreciated. And on the side, if you just want to, kind of show your appreciation, there's the thanks button too. That all helps things keep, I can't even talk because it's early. That helps things keep going. So I really appreciate it, you guys. You guys are awesome. And for Steve Leahy in Open Studio, I will catch you guys next week. Thanks a lot.